last match of the day, Evil Geniuses versus G2. We saw G2 earlier today in what was a thrilling series versus Rogue. They came out on top in Game 5 overtime, and they're going to want to look really as solid as they did at times in that series, and maybe, you know, allow less shots on net. G2.
Yeah, Chicago still the same quality performance in that series win as last week, involved in every single goal except one, the exact same as last week, being involved in 10 out of the 11. So he's still getting the job done, and Evil Geniuses, of course, coming in from the complete opposite end of the spectrum, where, to say the least, it did not go your way.
It did not, and there were times in that series against Space Station as Game 1 is underway where you really felt like they were starting to put it together. They had some good sequences. Classics especially really had some nice plays to get EG and keep EG in that series. They just couldn't come away with the game victory. And they didn't have a lot of time sitting on the bench as NRG's series with the minimum 3.
Oh,
15 minutes pass out. Trippe scores for Evil Geniuses, and they start things off right.
So G2, I don't know what Chicago was thinking here, but he just ran into the corner.
Maybe he didn't see Classics.
It's possible.
It's the only way I could think he would go that way.
I guess so.
Maybe. We don't know, but either way, EG don't care. They get the goal.
That is the best possible way for it to start as well, coming off a tough 0-3 loss in your previous series too.
And the demo out. Classics can't get back to the challenge, and Rizzo just kind of zips right through the ball. And Corrupted G gonna take control in the corner off the back wall. It's gonna be tough for any member of EG to get on, and G2 able to get back down to the blue half. A demo to open it up, maybe. Rizzo tried to get back to the ball, maybe to get a quick pass out to midfield. He's forced back, make a save here. Ooh, not the best touch. Corrupted G. This is all CG on the play. Gets that challenge in front off the back wall. Gives EG the second goal.
Yeah, and Chicago had a chance there to go up the wall, but it felt like if he went up the wall, he was actually going to be a little bit too slow. So he tried to race Corrupted G to that ball, and he just didn't get a very good touch on it. Straight back off the ceiling as Corrupted G was able to get there and just come in second and tip it off the ceiling, and a nice follow through from Trippe to put in the second one.
Chicago, the pass to JNAF, blocked by Classics. Got up quickly. Rizzo. G2 in that series against Rogue. Chicago back over to JNAF's. Whiffed on the play. Cleared out by Classics, but the double commit slow on the follow-up, so G2 retained possession. And the clear there by Trippe.
Here's a good chance, though. It wasn't a particularly good clear, and there's a demo.
Off the corner, trying to get back to it in time. Chicago can't. Still Rizzo cuts off the angle. JNAP's up there quickly. He wins a challenge. Classics having to rely on Corrupted G to clear this out, but Rizzo is waiting for it high on the side wall. Over his JNAP's, and it's blocked again by Trippe. Chicago keeping it alive. Here's JNAP's looking to tee it up to somebody, but a little too far away for anyone on G2 to get back to it. Still midfield is locked down for G2. Chicago off the ceiling, straight down. Classics able to pick up the save for EG. They're hanging on, but right now G2 are slowly starving them. Classics gets a much needed clear.
Yeah, that's actually exactly what G2 was doing similar in their last series, stealing a lot of the opposing corner boosts. But unfortunately, this go around, they really weren't able to ever get that perfect shot on net that they were always able to find in their first series of the day. But another chance here in the corner as Trippe actually able to slip that by Chicago, and JNAPS gives a little ground to maybe get a better challenge angle. But again, that's something that Rogue was trying to figure out against G2. You got to beat that first man, and Trippe was doing a nice job, but it's back the other way for G2. 1-2 off the back wall, and Trippe will take away the second chance for JNAPS.
Chicago straight out to the middle, but Rizzo or JNAPS weren't going to be able to do anything with it. JNAPS now has to turn quickly. Corrupted G can't get the dunk. G2, Rizzo to JNAPS, shot on target, and G2 cut the lead in half.
Yeah, Classics tracking this back all the way. It's on transition, 2 people caught in the corner, and Classics knows he has to buy time. Problem is he gave away a little bit too much space in the midfield, but I can understand it because he wanted to make sure that he was going to be in position to go challenge whatever he wanted. But unfortunately, him going all the way back to his own half left a completely open midfield, and it was just a free passing play for G2 and a perfectly placed shot.
Back to the opposite side, Trippe. Corrupted G finds the ball, back past the Classics. Classics on the challenge, can't get back from Chicago. It's a loose ball, Corrupted G on the rotation. Able to pick it up quickly. JNAPS just kind of buy time for G2. Rizzo again. Evil Genius is trying to push forward, but hard with these booming clears. G2 have found gaps. The bumps maybe open this up for Chicago, but he loses the ball. Wrap back around. Classics on the challenge. Rizzo tries to force the issue. Excuse me, JNAPS tries to force the issue, and another crucial clear for Evil Geniuses.
And still, more physical play coming out from G2. Another demo from Rizzo, this time on the line, and it's a 1-2 into the middle of the box, and it's tied up at 2s.
It's the demo that opens this up. Right before this replay, the demo happens. JNAPS has plenty of space, and he uses it to his advantage, taking a wide angle on the right. He has Chicago on the wing, puts it right on his nose, and we have a tie game. For Evil Geniuses, it started off really well. A quick 2 goals. Drippe picking up both of them for his team, and really some other good bouts of pressure from them. But G2, the passing in the offensive half of the field, even in the series against Rogue, had been solid, always finding each other in the attacking third, and it allowed them to come back in game number 1.
That's a big miss from Classics as well. It will give a late opportunity to G2. It's wide open. Chicago wants to keep it close, and Rizzo timing it perfectly. He was going to either be ready for the pinch here coming out of the corner, or he was just going to go whatever and take what Classics gave him. And Rizzo, a nice cleanup there. 3
unanswered for G2. They scored all of their goals in the last, minute? 8 shots total on net. G2 offense has woken up late in game 1. Rizzo kicked it against the backboard. And EG, they have some time left for a couple more drives down the field. Drippe finds Classics. Now Corrupted G on the point, taken away for now. Drippe slowing it down. Chicago ready for the pop. EG trying to trip away with what little time they have left. Another booming clear from Rizzo. Kills some more time. Corrupted G, a demo to open up a gap here against G2. But who's there to spawn right after he took him out? It's Rizzo with another booming clear. One more chance for EG to move down the pitch. And forcing them laterally on the defensive end. G2 fought back, initially down 2 goals to score 3 to win game 1.
And you said it. It took him just over a minute to get that last goal go ahead from Rizzo with Chicago. And it came from that missed touch, I believe, from Classics going across his own box. Just didn't get a very good clear, and that allowed G2 to press really hard in that final minute. And overall, G2, a lot of the same strategy that you saw against Rogue. Steal away the corner boost, demo people in the box, and it opens doors, and they're able to capitalize. But most importantly, Evil Geniuses could never find a seam and break out like Rogue was doing earlier on in the day.
No, absolutely not. And when we referenced that earlier series, in 4 out of the 5 games, G2 had allowed 10 to 12 to 13 shots on goal. Evil Geniuses not even close to that kind of offensive output, only registering 5. And again, like you said, Chiefs, it came down to the physical play for G2 that allowed them to break out. After those first 2 goals from Evil Geniuses in the first minute or so, they really couldn't find those same angles. They weren't able to catch G2 out. G2 just were able to win their challenges in their own corners as well. Constant booming clears, making it difficult for EG to do anything.
Now, it's good for Evil Geniuses. They weren't able to get a lot done, but it's an easy fix. It's the exact same problem that Rogue struggled with in game number 1. You got to just beat the first man, and you'll be in a much better position. You'll open up plenty of more chances. Even when they were on offense, they had a pretty good couple of runs to find those 2 goals. It really just came down to a mistake as the difference maker in game number 1 that G2 capitalized on. So it's a fairly even game number 1, and Evil Geniuses going into game number 2 clear the ball a little better, and you'll have a much more even game.
And definitely a much better turnaround for Corrupted G in the way that that Space Station series went. And he knows he can bounce back and looks much more solid, or not much more solid. It's just we're able to bounce back from mistakes like that.
No, what's funny is I didn't even give credit to the fact that it was actually an amazing comeback from G2 as well. Again, they were down 0-2 until the 2-minute mark pretty much. And then bang, 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 they have to lead. So credit where it's due. G2 keeping the pressure on and completing a tough comeback.
Challenge from Rizzo. He wins the second touch. Chicago straight out to JNAPS. JNAPS is on target, and it's blocked by Corrupted G. Classics trying to carry it out, but feeling the pressure from Rizzo. The touch out only to Corrupted G. JNAPS, G2, their midfield presence. Was about to say it was about to be the same story from game number 1, but EG do get a booming clear. Can't get a challenge against Rizzo. We'll see if Classics can kick this down, and EG can get it started off the backboard. Rebound picked up by Chicago.
Rizzo's in a bit of an awkward spot. Great steal from Corrupted G, not able to get it inside the goalposts. But here's the first opportunity for EG to try and trap G2 on their own half. Touch from Rizzo, nobody there. And they will wisely slow it down, breaking out of their own half, and force the next challenge to make sure everybody's on the same page. And it will result in them finding a gap and punching it back onto the blue half.
I think Classics might have been expecting someone to be a little closer to him when he slapped it against the sidewall there. Ended up giving up possession, but EG get it back. Nothing to worry about too much. Classics picking up the pass from CG, gets back to it off the crossbar. Drippay finishes, and EG take the lead.
And this is just Classics forcing it through. Corrupted G, though, with a beautiful feed down to him. And Classics, I think he could have got it if you give it to him again. But either way, Drippay already charging from the midfield. Maybe a little bit too aggressive, but either way, he put the ball in the back of the net, so he looks like a genius. And it's a well-deserved goal for Evil Geniuses.
Classics. A good challenge from Corrupted G as well. Classic still waiting for it too. Can play it slow around the corner, and that's a touch just right out to Drippay. It's off the crossbar and it bounces out. A big chance for EG to get that insurance goal, and instead the crossbar denies them. And G2 head to the blue half.
Oh, big
Rizzo couldn't find the touch. Drippay now flipping it over. He's over one. It's Chicago, and JNaps can't get back in time. Drippay picks up another.
Here's a little bit of an odd communication error. JNaps and Chicago don't figure out who's going to cut for the ball, because Chicago definitely could have went for that, but he thought maybe after JNaps landed in the midfield line, he was going to go and cut in and challenge and try and force it out to the side wall, is why I can imagine nobody went for that ball. But it really does all stem back to Rizzo missing that initial touch on the side wall. It was a free breakaway, and maybe some comms got in the way of G2 there, and they find themselves in a very similar situation to game number 1, down 0-2 with about 3 minutes left.
And as we continue to watch how Drippay fits in with this Evil Geniuses team, well, he's the owner of all 4 Evil Geniuses goals in this series. Classics picking up the 5th and the 3rd of game number 2.
Actually might put this one out of reach as well. Rizzo tried to keep it close, but he had it a little bit too hard, and JNaps definitely expecting Rizzo to get a piece of that ball on the follow-through, and it just did not catch anything, and Classics just punched it right into the corner.
Well, G2, they were able to come back down from 0-2, but they've definitely dug themselves
a deep hole here.
And it's going to be difficult to fight back out of it. 3 goals is that bar that so many teams struggle to try to come back from. But G2 did score 3 unanswered in game number 1. Definitely not impossible with the amount of time left. The pass to Chicago broken up by Drippay.
They needed to be able to hang on to that ball in the midfield and just really try and put the pressure on. Classics bumping someone out of the net, but Chicago will bail him out coming off the back wall. They might be able to catch Evil Geniuses on transition. Rizzo misses the touch and just crushed upfield from Drippay, and time's a ticket.
And buying some time, but CG was ready for it, and Drippay just a little too far away to follow up onto the ball. Now a quick transition off the back wall, slapped against the backboard. G2, it was a quick opportunity. They still have control. Pass out, Chicago picks it up. On the back end, Chicago's going to need to buy a little bit of time, but the gap, Drippay is going to find it. And he moves past the entire G2 defense. Flying for it is Classics in front of the box, picked up by Rizzo. And Corrupted G picks this up. Evil Genius is bringing it to G2 right now.
Well, that entire chance was generated by Classics just giving way in the midfield, says, you guys play 2v2 for a second, and he just drove onto the G2 half and demoed JNaps. And it almost opened the door back the other way. It's like no team had clear possession. Classics just drove over there and smashed him to pieces.
Which is such a Classics move, too. Like, you just know he hunts for it with a smile on his face and maybe a wink, too. It's just the kind of guy that he is, but he's been so good for Evil Geniuses, not just in this series, but really in a lot of the games that they've played. Earlier today, they couldn't get it done against Space Station, but right now, they have figured things out. Drippay also playing extremely well. And if you did have questions about how Corrupted G was feeling after that game, after that series, well, he's feeling pretty good. He's played a solid series so far. Game number 2 handily in their favor. Almost picking up another goal was Drippay. for the hat trick, but no good there. And G2, we're not seeing that pitch control we saw out of them against Rogue.
Absolutely.
We're not seeing those extended
not even
drives.
Number 1.
No, not at all. And it's just they're not able to sustain pressure, and they're not able to find passes. The passing lanes have been shut down by Evil Geniuses, and it's a great bounce back for this team as they tie up the series 1-1, at least giving us a game 4.
Yeah, really a night and day here for Evil Geniuses, but this is 2 games in a row for G2 where they've let the game get away from them early, conceding an early 2-goal lead, but this time around, Evil Geniuses, much credit to them, really locked down in the midfield, didn't let anybody really go away, and capitalizing on the mistakes that G2 had as well. Again, that game slipping away with the big Rizzo miss, and then Chicago and JNAP's not able to figure out who should go and challenge that ball.
And Classics picking up the 3rd goal here. As you can see, trying to clear it away as Rizzo, it got away from him right there, and he tries to flip into it, even tries to turn his car to the side, just to give himself as much length as possible with that dominance to at least touch the ball. But Classics found the length out, he found the inch across, and gave him that goal, which just sent this game away for G2.
You saw JNAPS there again, cut, going back towards the middle of the pitch, expecting Rizzo to get a touch on that ball with the nose of his car as he was trying to follow it up. And that was really the nail in the coffin for that game number 3. So Evil Geniuses, well done to you. Great pressure applied. Much better at handling their own boost and not letting G2 get in their own half. Box them in, steal boost, get demos. That didn't happen. That went Evil Geniuses' way, absolutely, because, you know, Classics opening a lot of doors and Corrupted G and Drippe playing well behind that.
Yeah, Drippe continues to impress for me. He's picked up 4 out of the 6 goals now scored by Evil Geniuses, and that was the big thing with a lot of people. The big question is, okay, how does Drippe replace Chicago? A lot of people feel like maybe it was a 1-to-1 maneuver for Evil Geniuses. Some people maybe think they're worse or better, but I think he's fit in exactly where you'd want Drippe to fit in, and that's being the striker and being able to follow up on chances that are generated by Classics and Corrupted G. So I like the way Drippe is playing right now. He's really filling that hole that they needed to fill from Chicago.
He does seem to slot in as that third-man role where Torment likes to play over on Cloud9. You have 2 great players in Classics and Corrupted G finding their way, opening a lot of holes and saying, all right, Drippe, go punch the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
And he has definitely accomplished that, but the big problem is you don't always have Corrupted G and Classics playing at the top of their game, and it's how many chances can you generate. And the biggest problem we've seen from EG has been them every now and again. They do get boxed in, and that was the big question when they picked up Drippe initially for me, was how do they hang on defense now? Because again, like we said right at the start of the season, Drippe, big fish, little pond, and you come over here and you have to play against the top offenses in all of North America for an entire season. So what does this team look like on defense? And versus Space Station Gaming,
too many shots.
It was not pretty.
Too many shots.
So,
and Space Station afforded them some crossbars too.
And that's not to say that it was necessarily Trippe's fault in general, but overall, EG, that's going to be their big test, is can they hang on defense? Because you break out and get them on offense, they'll look just as good as any other team out there.
Yeah, and Evil Geniuses in this series so far, something that they've been able to do is bring the ball down, because G2 are giving them space, mostly because G2 is constantly having to go back and at least try to control midfield, but they're all trying to control out of their own corners, make one attacker miss, and move down the field accordingly. It gave them a Game 2 victory, and now we're at the pivot game. Achieves game number 3. Who grabs series advantage as we get underway? G2 looking to bounce back.
And I think currently actually favoring EG, despite my criticisms, is 2 games in a row. G2 have let things get out of hand a little early. You need to see them keep this close.
And they're going to start off in Chicago, finding Rizzo.
What a touch from Corrupted G. My goodness, that put so much pressure on him, but now he has to make another one, and he just doesn't have the boost in the tank. He made a beautiful touch off the sidewall to get it to safety, and Chicago just threw another one right at him. And Corrupted G, he actually had 52, but he dismounted off the back wall to be able to come and try and make the second touch, and he just couldn't get back up there. Chicago threw it right back at him.
And Corrupted G off the kickoff. Rizzo trying to pick this up and boom downfield here for G2. Big for them to score early, as Evil Geniuses had scored first in every game so far. Game number 3 belongs to G2 early in the first minute. Chicago.
Great chance here.
Almost gets the touch off the backboard, but
Drippe was flat-footed. He couldn't even do anything. And a pass to the middle of the box. Classic's able to get that one away, at least to the midfield line, but still G2 trying to get some pressure going. And Drippe actually finds a hole down the middle, and he's not on target. And it will be cleared away by Chicago.
JKnapp's able to move down the field again.
And you saw JKnapp's again. Ignored the ball, went and stole the boost to try and lock EG on their own half.
Tipped up high by Chicago. JKnapp's tried to keep it close. Couldn't do it. EG able to stop another drive from G2. G2 still looking for some sort of sustained pressure. CG, though, takes control. Chicago good on the backboard for now. Drippe, Classic's a little too close to him on the play. Didn't expect it to bounce off the back of his car the way it did, but still, EG maintained possession. Rizzo up for this. Drippe undercut on the pass. G2 have to take advantage here off that missed pass. A good bump by Rizzo, a good idea, but the shot too high, blocked anyway by Drippe. This is where you see G2, they're starting to pick it up. You see them grabbing the midfield boost. They also got a corner, but then the miss by Chicago, he gets bumped back. JKnapp's picks this up, plenty of time to get back to the ball. Carrying it is JKnapp's, and it's blocked by Classics.
He was hoping to get that ball all the way over to Rizzo on the other side of the box, but yes, G2 starting to get those tactics from game number 1 that proved so successful. But EG, they're not exactly struggling to handle anything G2's throwing at them right now, as that's stolen away in the midfield line, and Classics is still trying to be a nuisance back on the other side. He's just missing those. You imagine if Classics starts getting his hands on people, it's going to get dangerous for G2 real fast.
Rizzo looking off the ceiling. Corrupted G playing it slow. Going to put JKnapp's, forcing him to make a play. He does at least get it to the backboard, but Classics and Drippe combine on the transition. Evil Geniuses looking for the tying goal. Corrupted G, Drippe, back to Corrupted G, and it's off the ramp. Classics, the next man up, has to wait for Rizzo, who's already close to it. He picks it up here.
And they really did have G2 hook, line, and sinker on that pass play.
Just no
do nothing but sit there and watch, and unfortunately that last touch from Corrupted G wasn't able to really fire one on target, but Drippe pressing now, back wall for Classics. Can he find a hole? Down the middle! And just a poor place shot and an easy save for Chicago will keep G2 with the lead.
Still not quite over, but Corrupted G couldn't get back down to it. Chicago booms it downfield. Nothing to do just yet. Chicago, I think, picked up all the boost there, just leaves it. G2 have plenty of space to work with. JKnapp's back over to Rizzo, and it's blocked by Classics. Chicago gonna keep it in play for G2. Classics can't find the touch, but Drippe there, not feeling any heat from G2. Still midfield locked down. Corrupted G can't beat G2 on the play. Drippe finally flipping this out, giving EG some breathing room.
Really nice job from him as well, trying to dribble. Unfortunately, he lost the challenge at the midfield line, and it still resulted in the ball being trapped on this blue half. And it's forcing EG to find these long clears. Finally, they get one to a teammate, pass to the top of the box, and JKnapp's will make another save. He was making tons of those in their first series, and he's leading his team currently in game number 3.
Yeah, his defense has really shown today. JKnapp's has been great on that rotation on the orange half of the field. It continues again as they hold on with 40 seconds left to this 1-goal lead. Classics to Corrupted, broken up by Rizzo, open, and it's just gonna be wide. Can he get back to it? Fighting Classics for the ball. Classics gets back to it in time, and so Rizzo racing back to that, couldn't put it on target, but they still waste tons of time off the clock. These long clears, EG, big miss, but CG able to get it back.
That miss just cost EG 7 seconds. And they're just going to have to figure out more as they try and get the ball past the midfield line, and they just can't do it. Kick to the middle. 5 left, and it's a wise touch from Rizzo down in the corner. A nice bump from Corrupted G. Gets the ball to Classics for free, but it's JKnapp's once more into the corner. Will just force its way onto the blue half. Ooh. And EG going to have to go the length of the field in one go.
Yeah, Classics going to have to catch this out. And it's going to be a win for Drippe. CG backflipping. He's not going to be able to get back to it in time. And G2, they take a 2-1 series lead here against EG.
They'll just eke out the victory. But overall, never really felt like Evil Geniuses. They were so close to being able to open a couple holes again. I was talking about it in the middle of that game. Classics, he was over there on the G2 half trying to run into people. And if they didn't get those demos, Evil Geniuses was going to have a tough time. Again, it was that quality shot here that put G2 in the lead. Just Chicago, again, Corrupted G making that beautiful first touch, but as he came off the back wall, the second one just came at him too fast for him to recover. At first, it was because I didn't think he had enough boost, but it's just the timing was not in his favor. So nice job, Chicago, to get to that ball, punch it right back into the middle.
And that's the kind of dynamic that G2 was hoping Chicago would bring. Not just scoring like we know Chicago can, but also those kind of passes where the pinch off the corner, Corrupted G has to be instant reaction to be able to get to it. The challenge game from Chicago that gives G2 the continuations they're looking for that sustained pressure. And while they might not have been able to find as much as they did in their series against Rogue, they're still finding gaps against EG and really stretching their ability to defend the backboard.
And Chicago's still continuing his trend of being involved in every single goal except one. So if anything is to be told here in game number 4, he'll be a part of more goals. So that really is the key thing about beating G2 is Chicago gets his hands on the ball, you better be paying attention.
Evil Geniuses have made this a fight. Game number 4, no different. They look to try to force game 5.
And also the first game was game number 3 where G2 not able to put themselves in a hole early. Can they replicate it here in game 4 and close it out and not have to play game 5 for once?
JNAP's able to flip by Classics, Corrupted G to Drip A off the crossbar, off the player and in. 1-0 for EG.
Chicago in the net. Corrupted G, it's a beautiful lift over to Drip A. I mean, you have to jump at it if you're Chicago because that one is so close. You do not want to take the chance of crossbar down. Unfortunately, it was a little high and he ended up own-goaling it. But credit to Corrupted G there, not rushing the play. Says, we've got all the time in the world. Make sure we get a quality pass.
Classics forcing the issue. Drip A to Corrupted G. Corrupted G, left side blocked as Chicago came rushing in for the ball. Chicago flipping it over. Classics actually got it down, but waiting for it was JNAP's touch straight down over to Drip A again. JNAP's tried to keep it close. Corrupted G, he's there again. Rizzo having to wait for the touch, ends up winning that one, but it's already right to Classics. Drip A up for it. And again, well defended by JNAP's. And the touch out for Chicago. A great job moving down the field. This is just well done, back and forth. JNAP's at Chicago, passing it back and forth. Not the best challenge from Classics on the play. He was just trying to get it away from G2. He saw they were playing close. Figures if he could just get his car onto the ball, maybe send things out of whack. Instead, it only helped G2's movement down the field, giving them the tying goal.
And so, G2 able to find a fairly quick equalizer. And we'll see if they can convert that into a lead here as they do sort of gain possession off the kickoff. As the first one to it will be JNAP's, but Classic's actually going to wait his turn. Tip back, Drip A on a race, actually given to him by Rizzo. And a lift, a gentle tap more to JNAP's, but lurking is AG in the midfield.
Still, this is good by Evil Geniuses right now in the midfield. Not able to move forward just yet, but at least meeting G2's challenge in this back and forth. Corrupted G on the challenge, couldn't win that one. Trying to find those long passes. They've been blocked off for the most part. Drip A playing it slow, trying to beat JNAP's on the play. JNAP's able to flip back into it. Classics is there, but JNAP's winning in the corner. Corrupted G, all he can do is buy some time. And that's actually going to afford EG even more time, but Drip A have forced back to make a save. Can he make another? He can. Off the ceiling, Classics is there. Evil Geniuses standing up on defense, and then Corrupted G ruins it by running into Drip A on the play as they double commit. They're able to get reset for now, but G2 take control from midfield.
Oh, and Drip A just stole that one away, but it's going to be wide. He might need help. He just misses the double tap. It's off the back wall, and JNAP's to the safety of the midfield line, but EG just missed a beautiful opportunity, and G2 find a lovely clear, steal the corner boost again, and they're going to have to reset over on the blue half of things. Corrupted G to the midfield line, transition back to orange, and Chicago is in charge of commanding things on defense. A nice demo from JNAP's in the midfield line will get G2 back the other way.
Chicago carrying this down, and it's almost in off the crossbar, bounced off of Corrupted G's car, off the backboard. JNAP's is met by Drip A. Corrupted G coming straight down to the ball, can't pick it up. EG feeling the pressure, running into each other in the corner. JNAP's, Rizzo, oh, he misses off the post. No goal for G2 just yet. Chicago flying in as JNAP's attempts and he just misses the touch. Chicago back over to Rizzo. Is that it? No! Right into Drippe. EG boom it to G2's half.
And they hang tough despite being under a ton of pressure from G2 there. But again, a demo in the midfield line. This is actually how the last possession started, and this one might find its way into the back. Pass to Chicago, back wall, and there's Rizzo with one more, and he just blasted high. And that is going to be squandered by G2.
Really trying to find the top, trying to pull defenders up, trying to find a gap in the net. Evil Geniuses have been a steel wall. Chicago shot blocked. Can't get the dunk against Drippe, who just snuggled up against the corner and wiggled that ball out. Classics, another save. Rizzo pass.
Too much.
Just cut on Chicago. JKnaps' shot blocked by Classics. Peppering the net. An absolute onslaught from G2. But EG hold course. It's like a Daigo parry from Street Fighter. Evil Genius is thwarting everything that G2 have thrown at them. Drippe off the backboard, cut off by JKnaps. When will Evil Geniuses feel the starvation? Well, they're not going to. They've picked up boost. They've really evened up the boost game. The kick down. G2 come away with nothing after that.
Drippe finally won a great challenge against JKnaps in the midfield line, but it wasn't for long. A short stint on Orange means they'll have to battle for possession, and currently favoring G2 as JKnaps goes right through Corrupted G. Classics has to recover off his goal line. Chicago's going to have to reset himself too, and Rizzo will let this one go as JKnaps actually not in the best position. It gives a lot of time for Evil Geniuses to come up here on offense. And can they hang on to the ball? It forced G2 into long clear.
Corrupted G. He wins in the corner. How do EG set up? Well, the touch out, it's under for Drippe, but Chicago breakaway, and he can't put it on target. JKnaps couldn't rush it down. Classics misses. It falls straight down. We have overtime.
And Rizzo has been the man, the third guy, much like Drippe, responsible for putting the goals away. And when he's been on target, he's been right at a defender, or he just can't quite reach it. And G2 would love to avoid Game 5. Chicago on a dribble.
Chicago pops it up, forces Drippe up. Not the best touch, and JKnaps can't put it on target. It's right to Classics. And EG trying to get set back up on the defensive end. JKnaps taking control. Pass to Chicago. Chicago wins against Corrupted G. Chicago still in the corner. Can he set this up for his team? The pass out. Corrupted G is there. Rizzo wanted to commit, but Drippe was too close to the ball. Instead, he's rewarded with the ball in midfield. Off the back. Classics can't get there. Chicago wins. G2 win against Evil Geniuses.
And it finally wasn't a Game 5. Rizzo to JKnaps. Classics just doesn't get up there. Misses the clear. The midfield challenge game comes through for G2, and Chicago, what a go for your first 3 series in RLCS. Again, continuing just being a monster offensive producer for his team.
Say what you want about G2, whether you love them, whether you hate them, whether they give you a heart attack every time they play. Point is, it's entertaining Rocket League every time they take the pitch. I just, again, impressed by Chicago, especially impressed by JKnaps, and someone we don't really mention a lot, but Rizzo. Rizzo makes a lot of the dirty touches, the touches that don't get any credit, but the touches that take the ball away from the opposition. He had so many sequences where he would take the ball away from Corrupted G, and then it allowed the rest of his team to move forward. And every team can really utilize a player like that, and Rizzo, I feel, has always done that for G2, and whether he's been up or down, you can always rely on him to be able to make those sort of touches.
And if Rizzo can really start to nail being that third man and start to find the back of the net like Torment, like Drippe was doing in this series when he got the opportunities, you really think the offensive threat for G2 can go way, way up. So it's not the end. They start off 3-0. Well done to them. EG will fall to 1-2, and a poor start for them. So the next couple of weeks are going to be very important for Evil Geniuses. How do they bounce back from a rough week 2?
And I think there's a lot that they can look at in this series that they can take home and really build upon. But that is it for G2 versus Evil Geniuses. We'll throw it back to the desk with Leaf & Company.
And there it is. The match of the day ended up going to G2. A lot of people were questioning whether they'd be able to pull this off. Is Drippe the answer for EG? And it turns out, at least in this match, that it was no, and G2 was able to take them.
That's rough, man. For these guys to start the way that they did, obviously G2 really happy turning it around, getting 2 wins on a big week for them, so taking a step in the right direction.
And that game 1 was huge. G2 down 2 goals. They scored 3 unanswered goals to win that, and those are the games you have to win. When you're up early versus one of these big 3 teams, you have to close it out, but EG couldn't do it.
I don't know what to
make of G2 right now. Like, they have these moments where it's amazing, and then they have these moments where it's like, what is happening? How did they get that many goals up on you? The end of Game 4, where it felt like for 2 minutes was just one perpetual siege that EG was able to block everything, and then to finally break through in overtime. I just don't know. I just don't know what to make of this team right now.
Yeah, my main concern is Rizzo's shooting right now. I felt like last week his shooting was relatively poor, but his vision has been so great for passes. But here again, his shooting has not been the greatest. So, like, if he corrects that, that's at least one dynamic. But still, the defense of G2 is just allowing too much to happen.
I mean, we criticize him for those shots because of what it really means. Like, if he puts those goals away, it's a totally different change of pace. They build themselves to lead, and we don't have these other styles. And yes, something that I haven't seen from them that only happens when they're ahead is the demo plays. I have not seen Rizzo leading the charge, creating demos, opening up the goal. It just hasn't existed yet.
And now with G2, like, maybe this is just going to be every single series. When they play Energy and Cloud9, they can probably bring up their game, but it's been difficult so far versus the lower-ended teams right now.
Yeah, for EG, like, there's only so much Classics can do. He seems like he's really solid right now, but I need to see Corrupted G and Drippe matching with him and playing as a team.
And now with 2 losses for EG, that probably rules them out of a top 2 spot, which would get you that automatic bid for the World Championship. But also, for DreamHack, I believe Dallas, you get that free trip as well. So it's like a double whammy there, too.
Yeah, I'm just wondering now for G2, you know, is this a sign that, you know, Rogue and EG were doing better? You know, the fact that they're able to keep toe, or is this, you know, a sign that, yes, something is really wrong with G2?
I mean, going back to the pre-show, they're the big 3 because it doesn't matter what's happening, they always find a way to win, you know, and G2 hasn't lost yet, so they're still in the big 3 in this time.
I suppose, but there's a difference with winning and winning convincingly.
But they haven't lost yet, you know. I tried to pick against them earlier. Didn't matter.
That's true. Wave knows exactly how it is. But it's just, there is question marks for G2 right now. And you worry, but they don't play any of the big 3 in week 3. It'll be week 4 and week 5. We'll see what happens then. Maybe they figure it out. But right now it's a little shaky.
I mean, you can keep emphasizing that. It doesn't matter how sloppy it is. If they're getting wins and they're ahead of the leads, like, it doesn't matter. It really does not matter. A win's a win.
All right, that was a great match, but there was also some great matches earlier, and our player of the week comes from one of those. It's Sipical. This man was a monster, showing that Space Station Gaming can show up.
I owe him like a lunch or something, because he made me look good on my predictions. He was scoring from everywhere. He was getting set up that there were some fakes, if you want to call him that, from Sathu, but he was just putting everything away, and that's what we needed from Space Station, someone to be extremely accurate. He only shot 10% last week. He scores 8 goals on 13 shots this week.
This is one of those beautiful moments where Rocket League gets to shine, right? Sipical is our star. He's our player of the week, but his teammates got him there. They gave him freedom and space to be smart. They gave him passes. They gave him the fakes. They played as a team, and Sipical gets to be the face of that.
Hey, man, it's what we wanted to see. This team was a team that accuracy was a problem. He comes in, he shoots just shy of 70% for the team, where something good for us is like, okay, if you're shooting like 35-ish on the season, you're doing great. And to almost double that is fantastic. That's what they needed, and they got a reasoning win for that. Like,
it was great.
They look like a clear top 4 team at this point, and they also took G2 to 5 games that they could have won that series.
Yeah.
So I want to see them when they play Cloud9 and Energy.
I was going to ask you that, is now that we've seen them play enough and they've been pretty consistent on impressing us, is this definitively like, yeah, we might have a top 4 team coming out from one of our new teams?
It's interesting because I still think they have a play style.
You're still questioning it.
I don't question their ability to get wins. Like, they do play very well. It's more so the play style. I've seen this play style before from many teams, and the difficulty that it creates is, yes, it's very aggressive. Yes, it really works out. But when it gets to the matches that matter the most, winning the World Championship, it falls apart. They go under pressure and they just collapse.
I mean, this is the flip side of the big 3, right? The big 3, because it doesn't matter what happens, they always win. Space Station Gaming goes up against G2 and wasn't able to pull out the victory. Like, being able to actually close out the series is the big difference for me. They got it here against EG, but I do need to see a little bit more of them before I'm putting them into like big 4 conversation.
Yeah, in case you were joining in just for the end of today, we had a lot more matches, so I think we can take a look at what went on the rest of the day. Anything surprise you? I mean, for the most part, NA's still kind of playing along to what we expect.
The fact that Space Station won against Evil Geniuses isn't as much of a surprise as the fact that they swept Evil Geniuses. That one was the big one for me.
Yeah, I think the other one too, first match of the day, huge grudge match for Kronovi.
So
unfortunately, just short for him, but it showed that Rogue has some gas in the tank. They're ready to fight. I like it.
And the terrific 2, I'm going to start calling that. Cloud9 and Energy look unstoppable
This is a big question mark now. As you know, we talked about the big 3. Have we reduced our numbers down to just 2?
Not yet, because we still haven't seen G2 lose.
When G2 loses, I'm willing to entertain the concept.
I guess that's fair. And as you mentioned it, we see them at the top of the board. It's just so funny that we have these question marks, but they are sitting at the top of the board right now with Cloud9.
It's all that matters. It's all that matters.
With all their wins. Now, this is getting to be a very dangerous lower end of these standings, especially for Ghost Gaming at 0-3.
0-3 with
They've been there before, though.
That's true.
Last time they were there, and they managed to get a couple wins last second.
They squeaked it out, yeah.
And they're like, all right, we're fine, kind of, I guess.
But the top of the board
wasn't good.
With G2, they're 3-0, but they're only +4 on the game differential. Both Cloud9 and Energy, they're only 2-0. They have better game differentials already. So that, like, if it is a tiebreaker where all 3 of those split those series, it's not looking great for G2.
But it is shaping up to be a pretty exciting week number 5, as we're going to have Cloud9 taking on Energy and G2 that week. So I cannot wait to watch those guys stay, especially if they stay clean like this.
Well, I think you just gave us yours, but I want to get some final thoughts from you guys from week 2. You know, we've had some time to see the teams develop and get into a groove. Anything change, or same old from NA?
I still think we have the questions on the majority of teams, like Splice still making mistakes, things that they have to clean up. What are they going to do to bounce back? I think the biggest one for me, though, was Rogue. I think Rogue left a really good impression on me. I'm proud to see it.
Yeah, they're still 0-2, though. Again, it's all about winning those series. You have to win those Game 5s. I was just really impressed by Space Station Gaming. Getting a sweep over Evil Geniuses is so important. And to see them be one of those teams now that is a World Championship contender, it would be lovely to see 3 brand new faces there.
It's a Splice definitely looked rough, but I kind of feel like anybody would have looked rough against NRG today. I still have some question marks about Splice.
Cool. Thanks for the thoughts, guys. I'm going to leave you now. I'm going to go over here to the big board because we got more action next week, of course. Let's take a look at North America. Now, we've seen those standings, and the bottom end's looking a little rough. So the match I'm looking forward to, of course, is Rogue versus Splice. This is definitely going to determine who's going to be stuck at the bottom end, maybe facing that relegation match, or be able to get into the top end. And that's going to start, of course, at 11:30 for the pre-show next week. But we have more action tomorrow. It's time for Europe. Here's our schedule, and I think the biggest thing tomorrow is, of course, Renault Vitality. They have some hard matches, FC Barcelona, Renault, but I think this last one here is going to be the one everyone's going to have their eyes on. Dignitas versus Renault Vitality. Can the child prodigy of Scrub Killer take down the 2-time world champions? I guess we'll find out tomorrow. That does start at 9:30 tomorrow morning Pacific time, but also you can buy your tickets online. We announced LAN last week, and the tickets are available June 21st to 23rd at the Prudential Center. That is tickets.rlesports.gg. Get clicking, get buying. I'd better see you there, and I'd better see you here tomorrow as well.
Challenge for G2. AJ shot just high, but the rebound is for Kornovi. You're able to grab some boost on the field and not just have to deal with shot after shot after shot.
Earlier in this one, are content to just launch the ball back and forth across the field because they currently have the lead, and a nice bump, free ball, 2-0, and that could be the nail.
Will be loose all the way back to the orange half. Typical waits for it, beats Scrub to G, and finds a long shot. No way. This one was on to Sathu. This one lofted. XP moves in quickly to try and see if he can find the winning shot. It's back into the box once more. Sathu doesn't find it, but that baits Classics up. Typical sends it in, and that's Space Station with 2 games under their belt.
But right now, EG fighting for their series life.
Oh no, Drippe drops it on his head. He's hooked back to Typical and into the corner and out. The sweep for Space Station Gaming on Evil Geniuses. For crazy stuff like pitch goals, do what you need to do to get back into this game, because right now it does feel like Energy is outclassing you in every way. Justin now dropping this one down. Here's Garrett G on the shot, past Karma, and another 2-goal game. Hey, Karma and the Splice is holding on right now.
But for how long? I mean, even that shot from Garrett, he was able to bounce it off the ceiling, and now the pass over to Justin. That's it. NRG finally getting on the board.
Rizzo wanted to commit, but Drippe was too close to the ball. Instead, he's rewarded with the ball in midfield. Off the back. Classics can't get there. Chicago wins. G2 win against Evil